Ladies and gentlemen, we are live here for the Bloody Thumbs extravaganza for episode 114, I believe. I wish I knew my own episode numbers. They've done so much. Yeah, episode 114. We haven't started yet. I'm just getting everything set here. Logging into the Twitch.tv account here. It's just so I can see the chat room. If anyone has any questions, just sign up there. I don't know if you have the Twitch.tv account. I don't know if you can log in as a guest and just throw in your questions on there. I haven't been on here in a while, so it might be a little rusty. Trying to see how I could get the chat up. I'm going to try to hear myself in a few minutes. I'm loading up the page. Now we're live. Myself in a few minutes. I'm loading up the page. Oh no, echo. There we go. Turned it off. Steve Rome, how you doing? Good to see you here. Thank you for coming. Alrighty. Let's see how it sounds. Oh man, I'm rusty here. I've been on in a while. Chat room. And there we go. So yeah, spread the word, Steve. Anyone from the surfer to even your mother that you tune into the live stream of Bloody Thumbs. So we got everything set here. Let me just contact CH. Sorry if the quality of sound doesn't sound good. I'm recording off of my laptop right now. I need a good USB headset for this. That'd be nice. Really nice. So okay, let me just get them here, and let's see. 300 views total on the channel. Not bad. That's on the channel, not the actual stream that's going on right now. So let's see. I'm also going to be recording this as well, so we'll see how it goes. I say so a lot, so I gotta start doing that. Trying to record this too while we're going live. Yeah. Alrighty. This is the pre-show here, ladies and gentlemen. Pre-show. We're doing a pre-show right now. Yes, let's see what happens. Switch windows up. So many. How do I sound, Steve? I know if you're out there, just type in the chat room how quality is. I know it's not perfect, but at least is it listenable? That's all I really want right now. It's not going to sound. The stream that you're listening and watching, it's not going to sound like this, so it's going to be, all edited nice and dandy for when it gets posted. Some shit running. I hope it doesn't mess up the bandwidth. What is up?
How you doing there, huh?
I'm doing good. How you doing there, CH?
I'm doing just excellent. Thank you for asking.
Nice. I'm just doing a little quick pre-show for the people who are at home watching this. I just wanted to get everything going here.
We've actually got some pretty interesting topics to talk about, especially in the realm of kind of recent developments. Also, something that will get me incredibly angry. Is something that I'd like to discuss with you. So yeah, we got that to look forward to.
Yeah, I was actually looking up some news topics that we could definitely talk about, and also, even the questions. I definitely have some things to get into on that end. I wish I could have put together some topics like a certain specific topic on an area in gaming, like we did last week with the kind of debate thing. Not exactly a debate, because I get smoked on that one, but and also I don't know, it was a off week for me last week, so I don't know if I sounded different that week. I don't know what was going on with me. One of those weeks.
No, you sounded good, man.
Alright, I'm just trying to get some confirmation here on actual feed here. Crap.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll see if it doesn't affect the bandwidth. Cause, I got the stream going, and then we're Skyping, so let's see if it doesn't affect the quality of the call here. And let me just take a listen for a quick second on the actual stream. Yeah, this is like last minute here too. I wanted to try something out of the blue.
No. It's good to experiment and try to see if it's good to experiment and try to see if see some new improvements, or to even just get a hankering for another episode of Play It Done through a different venue.
Exactly. That's what I wanted to do. We're trying to get some fan interaction as we're doing the actual podcast. Have them comment on something or ask us something out of the blue while we're doing this, just to mix things up here.
Sure. Sounds Ruby Cakes. And also, I got your message back on the Channel Awesome thing.
Oh yeah, what did you want to get into that?
Oh sure. It's just I was perusing some reviews and looking at some old reviews. I actually started looking at the Red Letter Media reviews of the Banishments, which are hilarious. There are 9 parts, but the guy does it with such monotone and just this creepy inflection of insert like home movie videos of his like quote unquote real life, where he's like this murdering stalker psychopath, and while he's reviewing Phantom Menace, and he has actually really interesting points on pretty much every aspect of the movie, and how absolutely terrible that movie was, and it's just funny as hell. It had me rolling and laughing, and just I was laughing myself so hard I nearly fell out of my chair. And it's good stuff indeed. And then I eventually went on to the guy with the glasses and Channel Awesome, and I just happened to see the news update that they might be looking for a new video game show. So I thought that maybe we could team up and fill that position if they so deem that we are worthy.
Most definitely, I would actually like to try that out. Do something different. I wanted to be more active actually on my YouTube stuff. I have been quite recently for a couple of videos I've done, and we'll see what happens. You gotta keep me in the loop there and see what they're actually looking for, and we'll see if we meet that criteria. And who knows? We have nothing to lose by doing this, so we might as well try it out and see what's up with that.
Absolutely. It's definitely something that I would most certainly like to get associated with, just because that guy with the glasses and I tend to generally agree with his point of views, and I actually really am interested in his opinions for a lot of things. Like, I don't trust a lot of critics, and just because I find it hard it's difficult to find a critic that you can gel with or at least understand for most of the time, let alone a good percentage of the time. But but I tend to agree with a lot of his stuff. Like, it's between that, the guys at Spill, Confused Matthew, just for movies, like video games, that's even another beast over there. But that's actually an interesting topic I'd like to discuss. Where do you get what reviews do you usually gravitate towards?
Certain outlets or certain reviewers, because
either or.
Yeah, that's I'm trying to come up with one, but that is a good question. And for the most part, I just kind of look at Destructoid mainly. I think they've got pretty good reviews there, and I trust a good chunk of the writers that do reviews for the site, and another video stuff that do, like Jim Sterling and everyone else there, that part of the structure. I generally gravitate towards their kind of views on some of the gaming industry and the reviews as well. I don't know, with Jim Sterling, he's a mixed bag of nuts sometimes. Sometimes he would like very much like a game, and then other times he would just not like it. I think like a good example was like Assassin's Creed 2. I think he didn't like that much, and which he gave good points, and I could respect him on that, but I didn't agree with him wholeheartedly. The first one, I'll give it to him on the first one. I think the first one it had its problems, but for the most part, without that first one, I don't think we would have we wouldn't have Ezio and the rest of the Assassin's Creed series as we know it. So.
As the Assassin's Creed 2 thing, I agree with some of the points, but the way he presented his argument and the fact that it was still a fairly low score for something that I thought was, at least in the gameplay anyway, was a huge improvement. I didn't think the story was all that more enticing than it was in the first. In fact, it was less so in the second game. But he's always a great critic who brings up every argument with evidence and his analysis, and that's what I think a lot more critics should do. In fact, one of the reviews that I was for movies anyway that I was interested in was Infused Matthew, and he did a review for the Avengers, and he's not a really big superhero guy, and he just basically generalized the entire thing. He didn't really use specific examples. I would be more than happy if he just cited specific examples, but he just I didn't like the dialogue, I didn't like the story, I didn't like the characters, that's it. And it's like, okay, that's your opinion and I respect it, but I would have liked a little bit more specificity.
Right, well the thing with the Avengers, I did enjoy it for the most part. It's it's tough to, some people are gonna like it. For the most part, everyone did like it, and others, the small minority probably wouldn't like it as much because there's somewhat too much characters. But they did a pretty good job of balancing all out, and everyone got their screen time for the most part.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't want to know those people who at least on some level didn't enjoy Avengers, just because it's like it's a superhero team up. And yes, I understand the story is kind of straightforward, but it's just so masterful how the filmmakers and Joss Whedon work with all these different characters, give them enough time to shine for their own personality, and give them story arcs that I was surprised as anyone else that they give everybody a story arc. They give Hawkeye a story arc, for God's sakes, and Thor. They have Thor and Bruce Banner and Natasha, and everybody gets a story arc. And in the middle of the film, there's actually that really interesting theological pause that nobody ever seems to bring up, which is the idea of escalation and matching firepower with firepower, and at what point does it end, and should should people create deterrents for threats that are possibly out there?
Yes, that's right. Just a quick thing before, pretty much I think we already started. I already have a recording of it. I was just gonna cut it up and before we get our official intro here, but I was just trying to get some feedback from one of the people that are watching. They said they can't hear anything. I don't know what's going on here, unless you want to check it out. Let me link you here. This is I tested everything out. I did I don't know how many. I did 5 tests before we went on here. I don't know what's going on. I have the XSplit thing. So before they started, really enforcing, you should probably pay for this. That'd be nice for us. Yeah. And then the most basic, they have the basic, just free version, but it doesn't have all the nice nook and crannies as the original kind of version did, not very long ago. All right, I'm getting confirmation from someone. It sounds good. I don't know, Steve. I think maybe you have your volume low or something.
It's a bit. Yeah. Are you talking? Is he talking about your voice?
It might be me because I'm recording right off the laptop, and you could probably hear all the inner workings of the laptop. Because Linux doesn't have the XSplit, so I can't do the stream from the Linux machine I have.
Yeah, I thought you sounded just a little bit low, so I turned it up, and so yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Yeah, I figured because automatically it has the volume is like in the middle for the player. So if you turn all the way up, all right, you're doing good, Steve. There we go, full blast. It's my fault. I had to refresh the page. That's funny. All right. Then we can officially start with 114 episode of Bloody Thumbs. God damn.
Damn straight, man. We are going strong. 115, looking damn good doing it.
We should do some type of science or math equations on how long it would take to listen to our entire catalog of episodes we've done and live to tell about it.
Oh my gosh. Before we get any further, I actually discovered that I copied a bunch of our first episodes of Blythum, like episode 2 and 3, to my computer, and actually I put it into a folder, and I hid it away, and now I rediscovered it. So that was very interesting to find. So I guess we can also add that to the archive if we want to, or if we don't want to, just because I'm pretty sure at that time it was mostly just both of us, giving each other like conversations like, so what do you want to talk about? That stuff's good. Yeah, video games. Those are nice. So that's our show. Thank you, everybody. But, oh shoot, what were we just talking about?
Yeah, for the most part, I'll give us credit on our earlier ones. We still were trying to get everything figured out on the earlier ones, and our first couple episodes were really short. One episode would be like 45 minutes, and others would be around that time. And the maximum we've gone on was like about 2 hours or 2.5 hours, and that's quite recently too.
Yeah,
it's not something we planned.
Oh my gosh, it's usually just like stuff that we just get into conversations about, and then just start talking over, and just. I think the median of, I'm sorry, I meant the mean. You see, as you can tell, I'm already not good at math, but the mean of all of the episodes that we have together, I think, is 115 episodes, and I assume that this is an hour, and that all the episodes kind of round out to about 2 hours, or maybe an hour and a half, and so I'd say maybe it would be roughly 220 hours of content.
My goodness.
If we have all these episodes.
That might accumulate to a good amount of time playing through the entire Mass Effect series more than once. Most likely. It is. That's very, very good, and just that. I like being compared to BioWare, is that we have more long-lasting content than you do. Booyah! Checkmate. There we are. So now we can rub that BioWare space and enjoy our victory. But also, what was? No. I lost it. Come on. We lost it. Yeah, once we get it, if it turns out pretty well with this stream, we might do another one again and let people know ahead of time if the time works out for them to hop on and just take a listen to us live and see how it goes. But if if you guys can go in the chat room, I have it up right now. You can, if you have the Twitch login account. I don't know if you can log in as a guest and go into the chat room, man. You can ask us anything, and then throughout the show we'll answer some questions.
Could you send me the link so that people can? I'm just gonna try to advertise it on my Twitter account and on some other venues.
Oh yeah, the link to the chat room or the Twitch page that I'm broadcasting from.
Which I think the Twitch page.
Yeah, the Twitch page has both on up there at the same time. It's got the video player there, and then on the right side of the video player, it's got the chat room. So I think a link.
Okay.
That's the link there.
Thank you.
All right.
Alrighty.
Tweet that. Bitch.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Tweet that, Jack.
Yeah. The cool thing about exploits, like you can have a bunch of things up on here, and I should have. For next time, I'll be prepared. I'll have like video, like montage of Chobot in the background of our Bloody Thumbs logo.
Well, that is even better. That is, oh my god. Well, you know what? That would actually make everything better. So just you know, I don't know. Chobot would be great, but maybe Chobot and Kat Dennings doing seductive belly dancing in the background would even be better.
Oh yeah, that would keep people listening.
Why have hamburger when you can have steak, man? Just keep bumping that the amount of quality that we can for each episode. And also, speaking of Kat Dennings, if you haven't seen her in the Emmy dress, holy moly, this is what cameras were made for. Because damn, just beautiful. If you watch too long, your face will melt off like the Raiders of the Lost Ark Nazi scene at the end.
My goodness. I don't know if I should take that risk.
Yeah. Well, you might just have to, just because it'll be worth it.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Oh, and speaking of BioWare, as we were talking about earlier, Musica and Greg Sischuk's retirement from BioWare, as they co-founded, was revealed to actually be a result of the fact that they were incredibly stressed about their job and the overwhelming negative fan reaction that they've had for Star Wars: The Old Republic and Mass Effect 3.
I figured. I think the Knights of the Old Republic did it for them, probably.
What I would like to know is, well, first off, I just want to say, we really, this is something that I think is an industry-wide problem in the fact that we don't censor what we think. In that, and not just, I don't mean we don't censor the ideas that we have about things. It's that we don't censor the raw, unedited, unconsciously filtered out thoughts that we have. Just like we can have stupid thoughts, but then our minds will say, okay, no, that's not correct. It's not very critical. We're doing this to have a knee-jerk reaction, whatever. In our industry, just because of the very nature of developers having to work very closely with the fan base and getting their feedback on things. I mean, I don't know a movie studio or an artist that asks fans like, oh, what would you like to see from this thing? And like at very like Facebook page or something like that. But,
yeah, video games are its own unique animal. It's a thing that people invest quite a bit amount of good hard-earned cash, and it's certainly also in time as well. They invest their time on something, and if it goes into a direction that they feel that's not what they wanted out of the series, and then so when the rabid fan base kicks in, was very prominent for especially Mass Effect 3.
Incredibly,
because of just one dumb thing at the end.
Yeah. And people don't think in this. Well, a lot of fans don't think, and because of that, they feel like it's all right to spout out the most uncritical, narrow-minded, over-opinionated, over-entitled feelings of, feelings of resentment towards these developers for doing something that they don't like, instead of saying like, I would, here's my reasons why I did not particularly enjoy that decision, and I hope you will consider it. It's like, no, fuck you, you shouldn't have done this, you're the worst people ever, you guys are the biggest sacks of crap I've ever seen. Like, that kind of stuff is commonplace in the industry, and we also, and it's not just in the more professional sphere when video game players are talking to developers. It's video game players with video game players. It's the only social area where smack talking has become now a debauchery and become this huge battleground of xenophobia and just racism and sexism. Where if you're a girl playing on Xbox Live, you are in for just the worst experience, especially if you're getting onto a popular game like Call of Duty or like a massively popular first-person shooter or something like that, where that's popular with 14-year-old boys. And it's something that we need to do better as a culture to class ourselves up, to actually work to make sure that our social standards are on par with what what the rest of civilization would deem acceptable. And that's something that I'm really sad with, and just that this brings them leaving just brings about the BioWare founders.
Well, initially, that's one of the most polarizing things about being able to have a voice online. Is it's a good thing that you can, but it just gets abused very much, and especially just on all types of forums, and especially the people that are cowards who don't go by a username and just speaks all sorts of trash, and is not held at all responsible for what he says, which he would never ever he wouldn't have the balls to say to somebody in person. We lost our sense of lost our decency online. Especially
with the anonymity.
I'm tired of chat roulette. Why do people gotta jerk off every time? I just want to chat, and every time I get a new person on there, they're always jacking off.
Well, maybe that's a compliment. You can take that as a compliment. Just like oh, you are so incredibly good looking that one thing leads to another, and now I am thinking for your pleasure, or for more likely mine. So.
I
don't think that.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I see it your way, CH. Forget what I said.
Please don't, because you actually had the right idea the first time around. Whereas it's just a bunch of horny, lonely men who can't ever maintain a relationship, who are probably as stable as a table. So just them. For them, having somebody unfortunately stumble upon them playing with themselves is probably the closest that they're ever going to get to intimacy. So,
it's disgusting.
It's just disgusting.
It makes me feel bad when I do it. In the privacy of my own home.
No, it's a natural thing. Ladies and germs out there, please. It is a natural thing. It is done for relieving stress or for headaches, as I've heard in some cases. And so, just please
I got a lot of headaches.
Play with your Netherland regionals with pride, but do it discreetly.
All right. Talk to CH.
You don't need to make this into a social community problem.
Oh yeah. It's not a social community problem. I don't know if that's a good segue.
Please do.
At last, the PlayStation 3 might get the first. Well, I know what I'm saying. The first edition. I don't know if that makes sense. The first Mass Effect. We might get it.
Oh yeah. I heard that Mass Effect 3, the trilogy, is coming out for the Xbox and the PC, which makes sense because Mass Effect 2 and 3 were multi-console, and Mass Effect 1 was published by Microsoft. So for the Mass Effect trilogy, it's kind of a no-brainer. But for the PS3, though, it's coming out for the PS3, and trust me, I'm more than happy to have more people jump on the bandwagon and enjoy the Mass Effect trilogy from the very start. But the only thing is that I have an inkling that Microsoft won't let Sony kind of slide by without advertising the hell out of that that game. It's like BioWare, EA, and Microsoft. It's like spread out for like 5 minutes. It's like the background image for Mass Effect 1. You know how it's like planet in the background, like Rex's space.
Yeah.
It's like in the background, just like Microsoft is just like a giant planet in space, and then like when you go up to the main menu, instead of Rex's face, you see Bill Gates just like smiling at you. It's like, okay, yep, yeah, I got you now. This was original.
That's the PS3 version, huh?
Yeah, that's the PS3 version.
Yeah, I could see it. I could see it. You start up the game, you get the first cutscene, of Earth, and then the camera pulls back to Shepard, and then when it kicks in the Mass Effect, that title screen, the entire game, it has a huge Microsoft watermark over the game as you play it.
And all the faces in the games are either Marcus Phoenix, Master Chief, Cliff Bleszinski, Bill Gates, just like all the Microsoft exclusive faces. That's the only face you can choose from. God damn it, come on! I just want to play the game. What are you doing here, Microsoft?
And using Windows 8 for the menu.
But then it'll crash after one cutscene. Like, blue screen of death.
Blue screen of death.
That'd be interesting if they actually do incorporate the Microsoft operating system, where it's like, instead of the Reapers, you must stop this new operating system from destroying the galaxy.
Most definitely. If anyone is still watching the stream, I got a picture of Trobot with a laser gun right next to the Bloody Thumbs logo.
Sweet.
She's moving now. She's flying around the screen.
What is this devilry that you possessed here?
Amazing visual elements, people. I'm painting a picture.
Speaking of amazing elements, the Metal Gear 25th anniversary soundtrack the music collection is on iTunes right now. So if you are like me and you absolutely love the hell out of the music done by Harry Gregson Williams, go out and check it out. Just because it's on sale now at iTunes, and usually their music stuff is only available in Japan. But now it's now it's on iTunes, and so they get you a chance to grab some steak again, and then for the steak eaters, it's like steak eater, someday you'll go through it free, that kind of stuff.
Snake eater.
Snake, what the hell have you done? You created a time paradox.
Can't you
kill Jaleel White before he gets on Family Matters?
Well, don't Snake. I remember playing that with the first Metal Gear Solid game on the PlayStation when they came out with those Sony demo CDs they put out. And I remember playing the demos like in Japanese, like, oh no, what is this? What am I listening to? And then they had the subtitles there.
That would be great. Just playing the entire first Metal Gear Solid, like Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes, but then like all the dialogue is Japanese, all the subtitles Japanese, and trying to figure out what the hell is going on would be so great. Like, okay, apparently there's like this guy sneaking into a facility. All of his allies seem to be like green shades of something in his codec conversations, and he's dealing with a bondage guy who's like floating above the room. What is going on here?
Oh my goodness. The room.
Oh.
Tommy Wiseau you're talking about?
Tommy Wiseau is Psycho Mantis. You're tearing me apart, Snake!
Oh, hi, Snake. Oh my goodness.
I'm lying. I never made you switch controllers.
Oh my goodness. That was good.
Oh yeah.
That was a good question.
Now you made me think about that. I can't see anything. If they're doing a Metal Gear Solid movie, as Avi Arad and Hideo Kojima have said that a Metal Gear Solid movie's coming out, I just don't know why they can't have Tommy Wiseau in there. Just like he's dying. Snake, you cannot tell people what you have been doing over here, and then dies. Because that's how awesome his acting is. Like, oh, you like Super Mario. That would be even better if they had the references in the video game world in the movie, and no one getting it except for the people who played the video games.
You're not a machine, Snake. You're a human being.
Or maybe they could update them, just like, so looks like the next Terminator film's playing in the next theater, huh? Looks like you paid too much for that popcorn, $32.80. For that tub? No.
Yeah, I just don't see any reasoning why you should do a Metal Gear Solid movie, just based on the fact that those games, can stand on their own as kind of films with those long cutscenes. I mean, the only way it could at least work, it has to be its own storyline. I said it before with certain particular games, but some games I don't think you can make into films unless you're going to be doing an original story based on the game, and then the characters you stay faithful to the characters and the world. But we've all learned that we still have a long way to go, and it hasn't been one that has nailed it on the head yet. So we still got a long way to go.
Yeah, exactly. There's this weird sense of video game logic in the Metal Gear Solid games, and the fact that you could, it's like very, very lighthearted in like one scene, and incredibly dark in the next one. That's incredibly hard to do in movies, but somehow in the video game world, it just really makes sense. And the fact that you are interacting with a digital environment is commented upon within the game itself, and there's something about the combination of self-awareness, of story, of the I don't want to say inconsistent tone, but ever-shifting tone of the story, and just how it's presented. I think that would be hard to pull off in a movie, especially when like Metal Gear Solid is not exactly great for immediate adaptation to a film, just because I think the story structure is not anything like a traditional film.
Story structure is spread across multiple games. In order to kind of get a sense of one game, you have to play either prior ones or recent ones. Because I went into playing Metal Gear Solid 2, and by the end I had no idea what all of this is going to lead up to until you actually kind of played the entire series, and all the way up until like Metal Gear Solid 4. You get some sense of what's kind of transacting there.
Yeah, the only comparable franchise or anything that's even kind of close to the story structure of Metal Gear Solid, having games that have a story but are hinting towards a much larger story, is maybe the Avengers. Like, because you have like Iron Man and Captain America, Thor, and the Incredible Hulk films. They all have their own story, and they all hint at the Avengers story coming up, and Marvel was able to pull it off. But I'm not sure if people are willing to wait that long for a series following just a single storyline, where you have Iron Man and Captain America and Thor and Hulk doing their own things and then converging for the Avengers, but you will have the Twin Snakes, Sons of Liberty, Snake Eater, and Guns of the Patriots, assumingly that they'll go in that order, or, who knows. But it's mostly just one continuous story following either Naked Snake, Solid Snake, or Raiden. And kind of Raiden is already part of Solid Snake's story, so I'm not really sure if audiences will be willing to keep on ending on cliffhangers, as it were.
Yeah, I can't see it coming to fruition. I think it'll be too long and too long in production, and it's not gonna come out in a year or two. It's gonna be quite a while. It might not even, there's no chance it might even come out at all. But we thought the same thing about the BioShock movie and another. What was the other? I forgot what the other one was, but it just didn't end up coming to fruition then.
There's been a bunch of projects like that. They were supposedly doing a Missile Command movie. There's nothing really said about that now. The BioShock movie, I'm really glad was not made, because Verbinski said, I want this to be R, and no studio would back that budget with an R rating, so they just said, screw you, fine, I'm not doing it. Metal Gear Solid was always one that was talked about for ages. Splinter Cell was going to be a movie, apparently, because they were teasing it in Chaos Theory, and it's like, next year. It's like, well, you son of a bitch, it's been 4 years, so I don't know what you were talking about this next year nonsense, because I'm still here, you're not. What's going on?
I don't know what Ubisoft was thinking with that. I think they just threw that in there as a joke, because I got excited when you beat the game, you can see that bonus footage, or it might be there when you start it up, but it's like coming soon, and Splinter Cell movie, and then just had glass shattering, and then they're coming soon from Paramount. It's like, no, I didn't hear any of this happening, and I don't think it's. I mean, I think there is a script written like back a couple of years ago, and I do have a copy of it. I didn't read the whole thing, but I mean, it was something that it probably didn't go past beyond production. I mean, it got as far as someone writing a small script for it, but I don't think they even got greenlit at all. So yeah, Ubisoft kind of blew their load early on that one.
It was, I don't know why, I was just so excited for it, even though it was kind of the least exciting, teaser I've ever seen in my life. It's just like, somebody standing up in the darkness, turning on the night vision goggles that Sam Fisher has, and then just cut to Splinter Cell, the movie, like, coming soon. And I wet my pants just like reading that, like, oh, that's gonna be awesome, it's gonna be great, it's gonna be a movie, it's like, oh, look at that thing, it's like someone who looks like Fisher, who's doing Fisher stuff. It's like, okay, well, besides the fact that he only really had the goggles on, I'm not really sure why I was excited for that then, but, okay, it was certainly a teaser.
I will say that the trailers leading up to Chaos Theory were really good trailers for that, especially with some, I think they did some CGI too. I thought that was really good. They put in some CGI trailer content for the game, and then also they mixed in the gameplay. Had Sam Fisher being interrogated, and that was pretty good. But beyond that, I don't think it might be a while if we ever see that, but I would like to see something sort of similar to that kind of universe in a way. But I will give credit that they did do a fan series of the Splinter Cell franchise, and I thought that was pretty good. It's like a kind of episodes, a couple minute episodes. They release like every week, and I think the last episode ended on. I think this was sort of like a cliffhanger, but they were planning on kind of going about it like a television show like online, putting it out on a weekly basis, and then once the season ends, they'll come back again with more stuff. And I really enjoyed that fan Splinter Cell series show that took place in the universe of Splinter Cell, and it followed an individual that were not introduced in the series. And I think that's the way to go about any type of kind of video game related adaptation coming to the big screen or small screen. It's the only way you can do it, because it's a lot of. I mean, because things like American Solid, you can't fully enjoy it because there's so much content to absorb in that game, and it's certainly a different entity than films, and it's. I don't know how they would do it. But I don't know how they would do it. So.
Yeah, it seems like if they're going to make a movie about it, they're going to try to make it as serious as possible. But then you have elements like Psycho Mantis and Vulcan Raven, and the ridiculousness of the cyborg ninja, and Snake, and I don't mean Snake. I mean I'm sorry, Liquid Snake. And it seems like it doesn't really work as a film, in that you wouldn't really appreciate it unless you were actually playing the story. And yeah, I wish them all the best of luck. I mean, if anything can be thought of, it can be filmed, and so I wish them all the best of luck and hope it's a good movie. But I just feel like something's going to get lost in translation about how they make a decent story for that. And but Ubisoft seems to be kind of on their stuff in terms of pumping out content in terms of movies and television, because they're already working on the Assassin's Creed film with Michael Fassbender attached to produce and star in. And I hope it's a different story than the ones that we've already seen, just because I don't know. I think it's kind of hard to make that an interesting character arc and span for only 2 hours.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think that would be the only way to do it, and without having to upset the fans of the series. Just make it separate, self-contained storyline involving an assassin, just like they're doing with that Assassin's Creed PS Vita, game. It's its
Yeah,
own,
yeah.
you know, a new character that's his own self-contained story in the same realm of the Assassin's Creed universe. And you know, they did it somewhat. It was pretty decent. They did a short Assassin's Creed film before Assassin's Creed 2, which was kind of it was a prequel to the second game. You know, it followed Ezio's dad. That on its own was really well done, and would like to see what more they could do as a full feature-length film, because that's pretty much what they did in essence. It's its own self-contained story that's not following a certain character's arc exactly like it transgressed into the game, because you can't do that in the span of under 2 hours, and most films are about under 2 hours unless it's a big blockbuster release. Is going to be the maximum it can be is 2.5 hours, as we seeing with the Avengers and the Dark Knight. That's the only exceptions as long of a film they could go. But something new like this, you can't beat that mainstream, quote unquote.
It's an incredibly risky endeavor to even try to do video game movies these days, just because we've had Prince of Persia, which did fine and it got its costs back, but it definitely wasn't a blockbuster success. And then we had the only other good movie that I can think of is, of course, the classic Mortal Kombat, which is just so incredibly awesome to this very day. Where Johnny Cage, you can't not love Johnny Cage. He's just such a badass. Love him. And then and then every other video game movie has been more about trying to reference kind of things in the video game, or we've had like the Dead or Alive movie where it's like Dennis Rodman was in it as a fighter. It's like, okay, I understand that he voiced one of the characters, but we don't actually need to have Dennis Rodman in this role. But okay, apparently you felt it was necessary, but whatever.
It's the only name you could get.
Exactly. But Dennis Rodman isn't exactly. Dennis Rodman is no Charles Barkley or Michael Jordan right now. So he might as well just sell for the Dead or Alive franchise. And Ubisoft, I actually really like where Ubisoft is going with a lot of their content, like for supporting the Splinter Cell fan series, for putting out the Assassin's Creed videos that they had of Ezio's father, and just working very closely to the fact that they have a lot of sources have pointed out that they have a lot of creative control over their films, an unprecedented amount of creative control over the films, that more than any other studio has been able to have in comparison to the Hollywood studio. But frankly, our industry has surpassed the Hollywood studio in terms of how much money we're making and how influential we are. And it's also I think I also remember what other movie it was that kind of failed, which was BioShock and the Halo movie, which was the MG. It was Fox and I want to say Paramount. It was Fox and MGM. I think were coming together to finance the movie, and then at the very last second, MGM was like, Fox was a lot like, we need some more money because we want some more money from this franchise. Like, okay, you know what? You're just doing this for a money grab. Screw you. And then Neil Blomkamp, who did some incredible shorts. I love the Halo Landfall short, and that kicked off a lot of great Halo live action shorts that they've had. Who went on to do District 9. So it's sad they didn't do the Halo movie, but glad that he went on to do another great movie I love.
Yeah, most definitely. I think Microsoft was also kind of hoping to get that up and going too. They were doing some financial backup on that. But I didn't keep up too much with that whole storyline of them trying to put out a Halo movie. But I did enjoy those live action commercials for Halo. I don't remember which Halo it was, but one of the most recent ones they did. That was pretty well done. It was shot really well and pretty. It was a really impressive live action trailer. So.
I mean, they put incredible amount of quality into their shorts. Like they've had the ODST trailer, which was I still watch this to this day, getting goosebumps, just how good it is, and it tells this great story within the span of 3 minutes, and that's what a great short video should do. And the Halo Reach stuff I really like, just because the live action stuff, just like people chowing down or discussing their marriage, or a mother leaving her son to go for like a business trip, and there's this incredibly ominous feeling of like a flight. You see in the background, like flights are getting canceled, like soldiers are picking up radio chatter, and just something feels wrong. And then, but they don't even have like they don't have one explosion in there. It's just people looking at something's amiss, and that makes it even so much better. And then with Halo 4, the quality of that live action trick they used for Halo 4, which is everybody on the UNSC Infinity, I think, is the name of the ship, and I mean, they're just like crash landing, and you see all these different people in all these different sections of the ship getting tossed around. Like some people are getting crushed underneath vehicles, or getting thrown down, these hallways that have turned vertically, and it looks like the quality of Prometheus in terms of the set design, and I mean that in the highest of phrases, because I love the set design and look of Prometheus, and it looks so awesome that I would love to see a Halo movie emerge. But the way that they were going for the movie, as I've heard, that it was kind of not going to be about the Master Chief, which I think was a mistake. So yeah.
Yeah, interesting experiments like that could easily sway somebody to actually go in all the way and actually try to make it happen and put out a feature-length film. I know Ubisoft has been doing that. As I saw recently, they did a kind of short film of like a Ghost Recon, to like a kind of short Ghost Recon type of film where it's following a group of soldiers, and that was impressive for the most part. I mean, they had some interesting special effects. They had that whole future soldier aspect embedded into that short film, and that alone was an interesting watch. And it depends on the game. I think Assassin's Creed offers a lot of variations and incarnations of just following different assassins in the world, and the world that you're exploring, and just the whole mythos of the Assassin's Creed series is an interesting thing to actually spread out and put out just more newer things, and it could be done in a film. It just has to be done well. Pretty much, it's not rocket science. I mean, that's why I don't particularly like the Resident Evil films, and I'm not even a Resident Evil fan whatsoever. But they just shoehorn characters, and then and it's its own separate story, which I respect it in the most part, but it's not really good. The story that they go about trying to do their own thing, and I'm not interested at all.
It's one of those things where it's like, okay, the Resident Evil franchise as a movie is incredibly popular, in that I think it's popular because it plays well to a female demographic, ones like a great action heroines, to be a part of the cinematic scope of the action adventure genre of movies. But it's in no way the story of Resident Evil of the series, because it's mostly like what is it, like 4 or 5 games like take place all in Raccoon City on like one night, and then the one to break all of that off was Resident Evil 4, and I don't know if you really call them stories, because stories imply that there are arcs and goals and things that would make us care for the characters. A lot of them are just like, oh, we love it for how unintentionally hilarious it is, like the Jill Sandwich comment, or just like the really spotty voice acting, or the dialogue that kind of is like whatever. But just by the fact that they really deviated from what the games were about in the first after the first movie. I don't know. It feels like they don't really care.
Well, the movies and the games have sort of done this, are sort of similar in that they've kind of gone a different route as to what the original game was before. You know, it's more action oriented.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
It's just, I think it's just another, vehicle for Mila Jovovich to still stay relevant.
Yeah. Her and what is the other contemporary where it's Kate Beckinsale for the Underworld franchise, where she walking around looking hot and kicking ass in skin tight leather. That's fine, but just the stories tend to kind of take a backseat to the fact that they just want to perform cool action scenes and keep themselves in the loop.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah, it's just not something I'm that into really. Okay, I guess I can see the appeal. I think I've seen all the movies, and the last one was bad. I just felt like nothing happened in that last one. The extension and
the last Resident Evil game or movie?
Movie.
Yeah. Well, nothing ever happened. It's like, or what's even better? It's like every trailer, like the last 3 movies, has been like, this is the end. This is like where all the stories have led up to, and then the sequel was like, no, this is the end. We promise you. And then this one was like, no, we promise this one's the very end. We won't do anything else. It'll just be called like Resident Evil. Trust us, this time it's the last time we're doing this shit.
It's like Final Destination Saw. It's the end until people stop watching it.
Final Fantasy, or you just you are exactly right. It is like Final Destination, where it's like where they had the Final Destination. It's like then Final Destination 4. It's like what? No, I'm sorry, like 5. Where it's like you just said it was the Final Destination. Yes, the Final Destination of the 4th edition to the genre.
The finalist destination.
The finalier of destinations. That'd be great if they just stopped using numbers and just trying to find a way to just say like final and destination in a sentence. Like the destination of finality, the final of destinations. And it's like adding plurals and making things singular just to throw people off.
I lost track of that Final Destination when they put it out in 3D. I think they just called it Final Destination 3D, but I think they called it, you might have called it 4 or whatever number. Because no one, for the most part, this is why I hate 3D, because you, for the most part, you don't have a 3D TV. Not a lot of people have 3D TVs because I think they're still pretty pricey, and one and the other, I don't think they sell any of them anymore.
Yeah.
For the most part, not a lot of people have 3D TVs, and they're not gonna, go about. I don't even know how good the 3D is on those TVs, but they're not gonna watch the movie in 3D. That's why I put it out on 3D.
I don't. Well,
because in the end, we're not going to watch the movie in 3D once it comes out. Because most of the time, they'll be on TV or they'll probably be out on, those iTunes, and we're not going to see them in 3D.
Yeah, I mean, people are gonna purchase what's easiest to them. They're not going to buy 3D TV with 3D glasses for a 3D movie, and pay so much more money for that. They're going to get like the iTunes download, or just buy the Blu-ray or DVD combo or what have you. And when you watch a movie in 2D that was meant for, you have a movie that was filmed for 3D effects or 3D visual things, and then you have it at 2D. It's so obvious that that it's jarring that when you see like little scenes of that, supposed to be like, oh, she's like poking she's poking the camera in the face, like, and that's supposed to be like, she's gonna get us, she's gonna crush us with her finger. It's like, no, it's actually just it just looks like she's just kind of like poking the air. But the only scene, like for instance, the only scene of Avengers I'm not really a fan of. I love the hell out of that film, but there's that one scene where of Natasha and Bruce and in Calcutta when they're in their room, and she has a spoiler alert, turn away for about 30 seconds. She has a gun on him, and they cut back from her face, from Bruce's face to the gun. It goes from gun, Bruce's face, gun. And it's obvious that was a 3D effect because they linger on that for so long that for the 3D effect it's supposed to look like, oh, the gun is pointing at the audience and supposed to be kind of noticeable. But in here, it just looks like, okay, you're just lingering on the shot of the gun for too long.
Yeah, movie, I already gave you my money. You gotta stick me up for more?
Get your wallets out. This is a raid.
Yeah, those are definitely a lot of scenes I've noticed that for films that they put out for 3D because they can, and I watch them in 2D that there's certain scenes that it's obvious that was supposed to be the 3D part of it, and it's like, oh, alright. That's not really that fantastic, but alright. Let's move on from that and continue to watch the film. But I don't know, I could definitely go all day on the whole 3D thing, and the people I'm talking to was like, you don't have to watch it. It's like, it's not the point, man. I know I don't have to watch it because I won't.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the fact that we're going to end up watching those in 2D because we're not going to be able to afford the 3D TVs, and I don't even know how good they are, and then you have to pay for the glasses separately. No one's going to invest that money for just to see it in 3D.
No, and you have to do homework on the thing. You have to find like a TV that can fit your living room space, because that's obvious. Like, okay, you need to find something that fits. That's okay. That's kind of lesson one of TV buying. But then you have to find out how effective is the 3D from what distance. Do you have to rearrange your furniture or move your other belongings around to have the TV at an effective range? What kind of glasses do you need? Do you need to buy enough for the whole family? Or what about if you invite friends over, or you have a party? What if, for instance, do you need to cycle through different DVDs or different menu options for 3D to 2D conversion? Do you really want to be watching a movie the entire time with glasses on your face instead of just kind of just enjoying the ride without them? I mean, it's one of those things where I don't know why 3D is making a comeback, because it's not really that revolutionary of an idea, and it's kind of been proven to be a sort of novelty that people get really tired of it after a little while.
And I think, it's definitely it's shown recently. I feel that it's not as something that people want to check out as much anymore, even though some theaters will have more showings of the 3D version than the actual 2D, which makes it a little bit harder for people who want to actually see the film. The film, might I add, not the 3D version of it.
It is just infuriating sometimes thinking about. I mean, if you're gonna do 3D, I feel like you should do what Nintendo did, where it's with the 3DS. It was. Okay, there's a slide bar on the side of it. You can switch over to 3D if you want, but you can also have the option to make it 2D games and not impede anything. So, let's. I would like to see more production, maybe like television stuff, or I think Sony was trying to do the 3D thing for a while and didn't really pan out. So, like, just do what Nintendo does. With I think they have the right idea on the 3DS where. Make it optional. Don't make it a necessary part of the experience. Kind of like the motion controls, like where if you make that necessary, and it's much easier to use a controller or use an older method of enjoying your content. Then it's kind of that's redundant and not effective.
Speaking of Nintendo,
yes,
the Wii U when it is going to be launching with 23 games. How do you feel about that?
Yay! I feel great. I feel fantastic. I'm not exactly sure.
Is your body ready?
What the point? I'm sorry.
Is your body ready?
My body is ready. We need to have Reggie Vizemi make a workout video game called My Body Is Ready, and just have him just and not like not an avatar representation of him, just like somebody like at his home with like a video camera, just like going like, okay, Reggie, we're ready to film. And it's like him just like coming out in like jogging shorts and like a headband, like to the end 80s leg warmers. Like, okay, guys, are you ready? Nintendo connectivity together, we land, and just sweating to the golden oldies of people doing remixes of My Body Is Ready and all the funny things that he said over the years.
There's plenty of that on YouTube that I definitely have seen, along with Mr. Caffeine Stuff, which the maximum I've gone with that is like 10 minutes out of, I think, an hour. They have that, his Dooley Dooleys looping for a good hour. That's the trend.
That is very, very true. I mean, but you can only tolerate the ramblings of a coke-addled mind for so long before realizing, okay, this man is not exactly... He's not exactly in his right mind right now, and it's funny to look at him, but... You know, I got to move on with my life. I got stuff to do. I can't look at your craziness no more.
I gotta get a picture with him for the story.
It's
Yeah. So pardon for the interruption there. The Wii U is going to be launching with 23 games, and they're hoping to have at least 52 games by March. That's what they're hoping, Nintendo, and it's going to be. The full launch lineup will include an abundance of games, which is Black Ops 2, the new Super Mario Brothers, Epic Mickey 2, which I did play a little bit, but I never beat it. Zombie U, Assassin's Creed 3, and Just Dance 4. And yeah, they got a pretty decent lineup of games, which is something that I think they were missing with 3DS. And we'll see how it goes. I'm not in any way pessimistic on Nintendo or the Wii U. I used to love Nintendo because they put out pretty good stuff. Nintendo 64 and Super Nintendo, which I grew up playing that system, and there's no reason to have malice against Nintendo. This is something. Certainly, I question the decisions at times, but
oh yeah.
For the most part, I wish him the best. It's like like a long lost uncle. I wish you the best.
Yeah, it's I'm actually surprised that Nintendo, despite having been criticized as the most maybe family-oriented and kid-friendly console and not really catering to the hardcore market, is actually being the most hardcore in terms of treating its customers with respect. There's none of this Ubisoft microtransaction and free-to-play models with like $60 games. There's no DRM for their online stuff. They're allowing people to buy stuff through. They're allowing people to buy games through the virtual console, and they updated with a pretty good amount of games. And they've said that they're including GameCube games for the Wii U, and I hope that knock on wood, that it's some of the older ones that we can't ever find. Like it's like a scene of Indiana Jones, except with instead of the idol, it's like a copy of Eternal Darkness, and then as soon as you get it, like the giant boulder starts rolling down.
Right.
But then you have games like them supporting games like Bayonetta 2, which didn't it couldn't find it. You had to scramble to find a developer to even show the most remote interest in it, and it looks like they've had some pretty interesting games coming out. I mean, for instance, they have Nintendo Land coming out, and which actually has looked pretty interesting. I thought that it was going to be kind of like the Wii Sports without as being as interesting, or with even less appeal. But then it's like, oh, that's interesting. Zombie U, I'm actually fairly interested in seeing how that one does, and Batman Arkham City, of course, it's not a new game, but it's nice to see that they understand, like, okay, people really enjoy Batman, so we might as well jump on this bandwagon and get some Batman oriented things in there.
Most definitely, and we'll definitely want to also add Mass Effect 2 on there, and I think 2 and 3. I don't know if 2 is on there, but they are planning on putting at least Mass Effect on there. So at least the important thing there is that they got a lineup, and one of the best steps they took that they needed to take was having at least this HD HD capabilities on that console. Because say what you will, I don't. Anyone who says HD is a gimmick, you're crazy, because HD is the best thing since sliced bread.
Yes, indeed. HD is a wonderful thing, and while I've always enjoyed kind of back at home watching Hulu, not Hulu, watching Netflix on the Wii or channel surfing. I don't know why I'm getting these confused. Internet surfing on the Internet Explorer-esque type of program that we had. I always hope that it's like, oh, okay, this is fine, but I'd really like to see HD version and what would happen. So yeah, it's I'm really excited for the Wii U, and I'm actually pretty surprised that out of all the companies right now, in terms of the big three, they are the ones who seem to be appealing the most to the hardcore market. Not so much for the software they're developing, but for the fact that they are maintaining a very consistently positive relationship with the customers, and the fact that anything they're including Hulu and Netflix and a lot of more other kind of widgets and applications to their next console, and it doesn't seem to be having. It doesn't seem to have these multiple number of strings that we have to work with the 360 and the PS3 in terms of online capabilities and everything like that, or selling, or them having these ideas of DRM. Like I don't know how many games on the Wii have DRM, but then again, I'm not sure that the online portion of the Wii is really focused on right now. So it'll be interesting to see if the Wii U has DRM games included, or if it's just kind of this kind of whatever thing. I'd like to see if Mass Effect 3 is has the, I don't know, what is it, the Cerberus program on the Xbox version?
Cerberus network. Yeah, it's pretty much in online pass essentially, isn't it, for Mass Effect 2? I remember when I put that code in, it allows you to. Does it allow you to download DLCs, or you can download them without the Cerberus network? Right, because I know when you buy it new, you do get the Zahid DLC, like it's his story mission. And you get that, and you put in that code, and I guess access to the future DLC. Essentially, that's when I can recall. I guess what it essentially is kind of an online pass, and in order to download and purchase the future DLC for Mass Effect.
Yeah,
I don't know if that was in 3, but they give you an online pass for the multiplayer.
That'll be interesting. That'll just be interesting to see, just because I don't know how Nintendo will deal with these online passes, especially when they've really had a very, although limited, online community. They've at least had it so that it's not very enough. It's not as obtrusive as a lot of these problems that we've been seeing with online passes for everything and locking out single-player content with these passes and whatnot. Just,
Yeah, that is an interesting thing to think about, because we don't know how far, if they made any improvements on their marketplace store, or what type of service they will have. Will they be going the route of PlayStation, where it's free essentially to allow you to play online, or are they going to have something as well where you can have a subscription service where they'll give you they'll give you special offers every now and then. And I know the PlayStation Plus, they do have some pretty decent offers where you can get some downloadable content for free or at a discounted price, something like that, or just go like Xbox Live and just have a subscription-based service where you could play online with others. I don't know, because Nintendo hasn't done anything to that extent with the Wii prior to the Wii U. They just didn't have any online at all, did they?
The Wii, it had occasional stuff, although their online accessories tended to be more like I know for they're probably their biggest success is maybe I would say GoldenEye for the Wii, and Super Smash Bros. Brawl, where people could jump into matches with one another but there was lag issues. I don't think they put a lot of emphasis on the online components, and they didn't really update them that often. But it kind of showed, just because their accessories for the Wii was just like, okay, you can have group chat, I think, where it was like you could just have like one sort of item in front of you, and you can talk to the entire group. You couldn't really select who you could talk to. If you just wanted to talk with your buddy, that didn't really work. So I think they're trying to make a larger push for online stuff for the next time around, and I'm not really sure what they will do. So that'll be interesting to look forward to.
Yeah, it is interesting to see what they will do. Who knows if they'll go about what I mentioned before, if they'll do something similar to Xbox Live or PlayStation Network or PlayStation Plus. We will see. We will see. Maybe they'll have Reggie Fils-Aimé deliver you your games that you can download online. You give you a DLC code.
That would be even better. Just like a little tiny Reggie Fils-Aimé dancing on the screen while you're waiting for your download. Just like giving his the best quotes that he has. Like I'm ready here to take names and kick ass, and then just like gives a giant cigar, and he's like, my body is now ready, and then or when it's done, he just says, my download is ready, and then he hands off the download.
Yeah, that is one of the little things from the Wii. 'Cause I remember you would download something like Mario, just like running as the download is progressing. I thought that was pretty cool. Something to watch while you're waiting for it to download. That was cool.
Very, very fun. And just, I hope they have a lot more of those little touches as as the Wii U comes to fruition, and just checking it out. So
most definitely.
Going from hopeful, looking at hopeful things and being happy with some things are going. Let's take a look at something that's absolutely horseshit.
Uh-oh.
Are you, ladies and gentlemen, ready? Gather round. It's Uncle Chris's turn to tell you a tale of idiocy and just downright greed. And it is... Hold on, let me get a drink of water.
CH's Corner.
Yep. It's EA. And we all know EA. They're the ones who embrace DRM, idiotic amounts of marketing that makes their games so much more expensive that they have to actually sell more games, or in the case of Dead Space 3, 5 million copies to justify their costs. And the fact that they have no games coming out, pretty much no games coming out that doesn't have The Sims, iPad and iPhone related products or sports related products, just goes to show you how well they're actually doing as a publisher. And so all that pushed aside, and trust me, there's a lot more. They've let Bullfrog die. They're misusing Origin. What else? The fact that they have they published 2 MMOs, The Secret World and the Old Republic, together, expecting that people will buy both and enjoy and justify the costs, as well as competing with World of Warcraft and the countless of other MMOs out there already. All that aside, and there's a lot more. Trust me, there's a bunch more.
Command and Conquer.
I'm sorry.
Command and Conquer.
I am a little teapot. I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Here's my handle. You can kiss my ass, EA. And EA has gone from a bunch of greedy businessmen who know nothing about the industry, are making it worse, criticize other publishers for not being, and developers, members of video games for just not being good, like the Zynga lawsuit going on right now, which is, it's not good versus evil as much as EA wants to tell us. It's evil versus a little bit less evil. And this is where they've moved from greedy corporate executives who are more than happy of, like, you remember that video of when everybody was getting the bailout, and there was that scene, like, okay, in a court where it was like, who wants to give up their private jets for a year in order to cut costs. Nobody raised their hand. You know why? Because that's goddamn EA. And so they went from that, from basically Scrooge McDuck, into G.I. Joe supervillains. Do you know why?
Why?
Because they re-released FIFA 12 as FIFA 13 on the Wii. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is we make jokes that like sports games are released every year. It's like, oh, it's basically the same thing, and they don't really change much. But with this, it's actually true. They didn't change anything besides the number and a few transfer kit updates. And it is the exact same game, and they're selling it for... they're tricking customers into spending $40 into what could have been just a free update. And it's mind-boggling how idiotic, how the greed, the hubris, the lack of humility in terms of just understanding how humanity works in general. That these people have no sense. There's not a shred of decency in this move. There's nothing, and I am just to quote Jim Sterling. Not even I have the words for this one. This is just sit back, let it simmer, and I'm not even as mad as I could be. I'm flabbergasted. I really am. I didn't think that they would ever stoop this low. I mean, the only thing that we have left is to wait for executives to come out of the building, go up to local street bums, kick them in the crotch, take their money, and then go back into the building to buy themselves a candy bar. This.
Damn, this has been CH's soapbox.
Oh.
I'm going to give you a couple minutes to simmer down, CH, while I talk about a little thing that's going on with Valve this week. Well, they advanced even more. Actually, Valve is... This has got me a little interested in seeing what they come up with. But Valve is planning to bring Steam onto the Linux. So, as I mentioned before, I do enjoy Linux, and in some aspects, I think it's a amazing thing, and operating systems that get put together by creative minds can easily be not a replacement but an alternative CH. That's why it's open source. So if you can't afford any of these more Macs or Windows operating systems, that's why Linux is the way to go. Way to go. So according to the post by the Valve Linux team, they're gonna have a beta starting next week, and they're gonna be followed by an external beta for 1,000 users sometime in October. Valve is said to have a private kind of beta that will include Steam and one Valve game and support for Ubuntu 12.04, that's the current lifetime support version of Ubuntu and above. So it's not going to include a big picture mode or additional Valve games, but this is something that I like to see, because we don't have there really isn't a kind of an outlet for games that we could as big as Steam and as popular as Steam for Linux to actually expand the gaming market for Linux. And I mean, there's definitely a market for it, and just because it's open source doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It's just another alternative way of using the source code for an operating system and programs, and people who have open source operating systems will purchase the games off of their respective gaming stores. I mean, Ubuntu has its own kind of marketplace where you can download programs and things like that. And some games have made it onto theirs, like what is it? Braid is on there, and Amnesia is on there. So then those are examples of some games that are for the most part pretty good and are popular. Have made some popularity in the gaming for PC, and they've made it onto Linux, because it's much like your situation with Mac, CH. You're trying to get some games like classic ones like Sharp's Barkley Shut Up and Jam to run on your machine, and you just don't have an outlet to actually play it. And Valve is looking to expand their customer base with trying to make Steam, compatible with Linux, and it's a process, and I hope the best that this works out, and hopefully we'll get more people from the Linux marketplace to, they're gonna definitely be very satisfied with that, and Steam's a great service, and it's certainly a lot better than Origins, and we certainly like to see it come on board for Linux, so we can hopefully have big name PC games on there so you can play, and not having to go about different routes to play them, instead of not using those emulators that are mostly not reliable at times.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's that for Valve. Let's see where they go from there. Do some beta testing for Linux.
Yeah. I mean, spot on for Valve. And they are a company who, unlike EA, by the way, I just wanted to connect that back just because I hate EA. They treat their customers with respect. They're always trying new avenues and venues to entice, even pirates to come on over to join the club, and just they're doing creative things in terms of just maintaining their customer base and making sure that everybody is happy who is ever even tries to buy anything from Valve. They have constant sales. They have frequent updates. They are constantly attempting new and various things with the company, and they're not just relying on old gimmicks. So, and good on Valve. I love the fact that they're going into new, the Linux territory, and that is going to be a new venue for people who can't get certain operating softwares going for to get access to some source games and the source engine just by itself, and Steam, and I'm really happy with Valve. I mean, Valve is one of the, if not the best company out there right now for video games, and just I am so, you could not sandblast my smile away just because of how awesome these guys are.
Most definitely for PC games in general, they're a godsend.
Oh yeah.
It's not like with the Ubisoft, and Ubisoft's it's not been very good for the PC side of things.
Yep. Always on DRM is not a good idea. It's silly. Just maybe if you need to connect to the game at first and put a code for that game to so you can unlock it, I could understand that maybe, but just being on all the time, no. But fortunately, Ubisoft has abandoned their DRM, goals, and have said that we've listened to fan feedback. So good on Ubisoft for doing that. I hope more companies follow suit and just try to find other venues of attracting customers.
Yes. So that's it for me on the news side. I know we've got some questions here that we could go into right now. Do you have anything else that you wanted to bring up before we head on over to the question side of things?
Only the fact that I realized that EA is rebooting Army of Two. I don't know why. I know I'm harping on EA a lot, but I have to, just because these fuckers are so stupid. That it's Army of Two. It was a game, for those of you who don't know, it's a co-op action game where you play two mercenaries, and it's supposed to be kind of cool because, like, for the first two games that they had in the series, you could have, like, customizable battle masks, basically, where you could go into battle with these, awesome, cool, customizable face masks, and and customizable guns, and you can bling them out, and that was cool, and you could perform co-op actions. And I remember the sequel was released, and the first one got okay sales and good critical review, and the second one was released, and I think it was like about the same. People just weren't as hot on them, and now it's getting a reboot. Why? It's not a Joel Schumacher situation where it's like, okay, this is beyond repair, we need to reboot this shit. Or even if it's like, okay, it's like, the Amazing Spider-Man movie. It's like, okay, well, that was good, except now that story is kind of over and it's tied up, so let's try something new in a new direction that's very, vastly different. This does not seem necessary. the reason why people liked Army of Two was the fact that it was kind of this goofy adventure with these two mercenaries just blowing things up and having a grand old time with everything. And now it's like, oh, it's supposed to be a gritty, dark reboot. Yeah, that's not why people enjoyed it. It's like saying, oh, we need to update Mario. I know, let's make him a sociopathic murderer. It doesn't make it's stupid. It is stupid. You have only 2 games to compare it to. Why would you need a reboot? It's not like this. It's like a long-standing. It's not like XCOM where people there hasn't been a new entry in the series, and so rebooting it to a first-person shooter, while it might upset a lot of fans, understandably, it's a different direction, and that people aren't really that endeared to. This makes no sense. It's basically the same game. What is wrong with you, EA?
Yeah, that's just a case of an unnecessary reboot of a game, and it's not. I mean, it's not even very very popular enough to actually deserve one. In my opinion, I know that the second one wasn't. I know the second one had his own issues, and wasn't story-wise. I don't even know because I haven't even played them, so I won't say much on that end. But it just doesn't seem like one that is people are clamoring for a sequel or reboot on. It's EA, so I know why.
What I love, I'm sorry.
It's EA, so I know why it's happening.
Oh yeah, and what's even better is I'm a bit conflicted on this, is because it's being developed by Visceral Games. I love Visceral Games. Dead Space 2 is one of my favorite games of this generation. I wish them all the best with Dead Space 3, although I kind of wish that I'm conflicted on the co-op element, but whatever. That's that's by itself, and I haven't played Dead Space 3, so I don't know. So yeah, what I'm worried about is that there's going to be 2 new characters introduced as Alpha and Bravo in the game, and in replacing Salem and Rios from the last game, so that players can inject themselves into the role. Yeah, I don't know. So it's going to be less of a story with characters characters are non-existent. So doing silent protagonists in this one, pretty much, or I don't know, silent protagonists, but not as interesting protagonists. It's completely idiotic. I can't really see what they're improving here. If anything, this seems like a scaled down version. Like I wouldn't mind if this was maybe just a game on Xbox Live Arcade or maybe the PlayStation Network where you could download. It's like, oh, this is a fun little experiment that we're doing. You're not a character. This is kind of fun little firefight exercise and whatnot. It's like, oh, okay, that's cool. But no, this is like full-fledged game, and I don't know why. It just seems very strange.
It's EA.
It's EA. That's all I can really say. It's EA.
Yeah. So on that front, is that we didn't even get to mention what we've been playing. Do I have some stories to tell you? Horror stories. I played Dark Souls.
Oh, buddy, how was that?
Oh my god, I'm at a loss for words just thinking about it. I'm having post-traumatic stress just after playing that game. It is, to be fair, it's a challenging game, but it's fair. It's one of the things that I did like about The Witcher. It had its moments of difficult, but it's not something that it can't be done. It's just it has the certain elements of it's a little unforgiving at times, but I will admit a good chunk of the kills that were given in Dark Souls were my fault, and I don't know if this game is heavily story based, because I'm very early on in the game. Huh?
Is it like is it like a good game, but you have to kind of take the abuse of a lot of the bad negatives, the frequently unfair sides of life for the game?
Oh yeah, it's like life. It's unfair.
So it's like you're the battered housewife of this situation where it's like, no, Dark Souls love me. We're just going through some stuff right now. He's very stressed.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I was stuck at a certain point. The first boss I faced, it took me like, I don't know how many tries. I'm gonna say it was more than 20 times I try to beat him. It's one of those things where there are not a lot of save points, and when there are, you're gonna have to make sure you do save before you end up advancing on to wherever you're gonna go. Because there's no map in the game, so you're just kind of just wandering around. It's the more adventure side of the game, and it's on the other side of the RPG elements where you're just kind of putting points to certain attributes of your character as you collect souls, is what they call it. When you kill enemies, you kind of just automatically collect them, and you gather them up as you go, and they kind of used as currency and as ways of upgrading your attributes as well. And once you die, you lose those souls, and you have to go back to the place where you died and pick them up. And if you end up getting killed before you get there and to pick them up, you just lose them all. And it does end up costing you a bit, because sometimes you would save those up just to kind of get new weapons or upgrade your stats. And I've certainly lost a lot of those. I can't speak too much on the story, so I don't know if there is really a story. I mean, there is, but it's not really heavily a part of the game. I know they give you a nice, pretty good CGI cutscene in the beginning, but it's not something that is going to tell you what exactly you're... I don't even know what I'm doing, really. I'm just kind of wandering around as an undead guy, and you can become human by collecting a certain amount of souls.
I hear it's a little bit lore-based, where there's like pieces of literature and of the world scattered about, and you find out a lot about the world, mostly through picking up pieces of lore and trying to figure out kind of the world, right?
I've heard that too, but I haven't stumbled upon, from what I recall, anything that I can pick up and read. I know you can talk to characters, and they kind of just... They all have this kind of weird and monotone delivery in their voice, and it's just very kind of... They feel kind of somber, and just kind of... It's a lot of just wandering around and just seeing where you could go and not go, because there's certain parts of the game where you could go there, but they're very tough enemies that you'll encounter. You just kind of better off running away from them. And it's
if
like,
you go to one of the characters, will they just start to say Bueller?
Yeah, it's the Ben Stein's in the game. Is that his name?
That would even be better. Like, can we get Ben Stein as a boss battle? Just going, oh, I see you're trying to get my treasure chest over here. I can't allow you to do that.
So the game, yeah, it's a lot of adventuring. It's a little bit of some say it was a little bit Zelda-like, where you just kind of collect things and then get up your stats, and it's a lot of just exploring, really. And then if you end up kind of encountering a boss, they could easily kill you, and a lot of the enemies in the game, they can easily kill you as well. So you kind of evenly match with those kind of just common enemies you'd face, like the kind of skeletons or just like undead looking dudes. And if you played a little bit of The Witcher, they have the endurance, the stamina meter and the health. So if you use too much of your stamina and you're trying to do a block, like you have your shield up and you get hit, you lose a little bit of health because you didn't have enough stamina to block the attack as much to kind of not get any damage. So it's sort of that in that aspect as well. I'm enjoying it so far. It's just there are definitely moments where I'm just cautious at all time. I was like, I don't know where I can go, because I feel like there's no because there's no map, so you're not uncertain of where to go, and sometimes you just don't know where kind of danger is. You'll know when you get killed and you have to go back again and retrace your steps again. And they have these bonfires where initially they're save points in the game where you can level up. And if you already gone through a certain area of the game and you go back to where you started, where the bonfire was, when you kind of initially do that and rest, which just saves your game, and you can do other things like level up. And if you have the right equipment, you can also fix your weapons and other stuff. It will respawn enemies, so you're gonna have to face the same enemies you did again in order to get any farther onto the game. So I've had the instances where I've ended up getting killed because I rushed to try to get to the boss that got stuck on. Like 30 times I played through the same part of the game, and I didn't stop CHs. I think I'm a masochist.
Well, maybe just like,
and yeah. Well, there was a moment.
You know, sometimes you just want to be beaten down by a game just because like I've played these games far too often and I've just had way too easy of a time getting through these games. I want something difficult, challenging, and awesome. So it sounds like Dark Souls is definitely a very, very good one.
And that's why I'm playing it. That's why I'm getting into it, and I've already beaten the first boss, and I think there's a second one with like this kind of scorpion-like boss that took me a while to beat too. I try to do because I'm a pyromancer, I try to do like fire-based attacks, so you're only limited on, and you can only replenish them if you go at a bonfire. But that would mean you have to fight him again because he'll have his level regenerated if you go back again and face him. So that's the challenging part of it. You kind of have to beat him in one shot. Keep doing it until you actually master it. I ended up having to I bought like 100 arrows, and I used up like 50 arrows to kill the thing.
Oh, wow. It sounds now. How far do you think are you along in the game?
I've been playing for 6 hours, and I don't think I'm that far because I played it took me 2 or 3 hours to beat the first boss, and that was just me playing the same part over and over until I got to the boss and faced him and beat him. And I had to do it all in one shot and not get killed when I reached the boss. That's the thing. If I get killed by the boss, I have to restart all the way. I have to backtrack all the way again from the beginning where I had the bonfire, and it's a good 5 or 10 minutes to get to the boss.
Wow, this seems like a game which would cause incredible amounts of frustration.
It has. I screamed a lot of fucks out loud. It was like I got killed by an enemy that's not a boss. Like, ah, shit. And because I rushed, that's my problem. You have to take your time and not rush. You can't rush towards it because you end up getting killed if you rush. And I end up making mistakes, and a lot of it was my fault. I will admit, it's not really the game's fault. And you learn a lot. You learn a lot from dying, so you're gonna have to pick up where you left off again and replay. I mean, it's not really a consequence that you die. The only downside is if you lose kind of the souls you collect from the kills you have, but you can recollect them again, so it's not really a big deal because the enemies respawn when you come back anyway, when you die.
It definitely sounds like this is a game if you want to feel like you've have achieved something in the face of uncertain odds, and this is definitely a game to get, huh?
It is. I've already been 2 bosses right now, and I feel like I've climbed Mount Everest, CH. And I don't even know where I'm supposed to go. There are like multiple areas to explore, and I'm just afraid to explore them because I don't want to die. I went into this kind of like big, giant kind of castle-looking thing, and then when I went in, I saw this big, huge soldier with a sword, and I just ran away from him because I didn't want to get killed, and I went somewhere else, and then, downstairs was like a giant boss scorpion. And, I almost died getting to just another area of the game just to I can save somewhere else and not having to backtrack again. It requires you to be very patient and not rush to it. And you'll know when you can't beat an enemy at a certain time. You just kind of have to go about and go somewhere else and try to level up in order to beat them. But yeah, no, I'll give you an update on what's going on. I might have to look in the guide. Actually, I'm not ashamed to look at it because I don't know where to go. I don't know where the main quests are or the side quests because they don't tell you anything.
This game sounds like you need more than just a strategy guide. It sounds like you need foreign aid from the UN, is how difficult it sounds. So, just cheat to your heart's content, man. Game facts, I guess, is always going to be there, and just, take advantage of that, and I certainly wish you the best of luck.
Yeah, thank you. It's good. It's not something there are, if the way you look at it, you might consider them sort of cheap kills, but at the same time you could have avoided them. Like I was crossing this bridge and I noticed the dragon swoop by and just do a fireball at me, and then you have to like run towards there's a certain area where the bridge is. You can go down the steps and that dragon is guarding something. If I try to reach like this huge castle, that thing will burn me down. So I just avoided it all in stride and just moved on. It's a huge one too. It's like this dragon is more intimidating than the Skyrim dragons. I remember I went down a different path. It was like in the woods and it was very dark, so I didn't know where I was going. I just kind of wanted to see what was down there, and I noticed this when I took the elevator down to go even further away from this castle that I'm at right now. And once I opened the door, there's like 4 dragons outside guarding something. It was like I just wanted to see what would happen for laughs. So I just ran towards them, and like all 4 of them fired like electro fireballs at me. It was just amazing. And you reach a point where you're not afraid to die. So if you try to see what's ahead of you, and then you find out whether it's something that you can get by or just avoid all in one, it's worth taking the risk and seeing what's going on, and just getting killed, and just forgetting your soul you left behind.
Wow, it sounded like you said, like you again with the 4 dragons. It sounded like you were gonna run out there, and then they all fired at you, and then it faded to black, and then it came back, and they were just like the next scene was just you being roasted over a spit as they like seasoned you up and put like barbecue sauce. Like, it sounds like a delicious meal. It was really easy to catch too.
Yeah, it's like we wanted to die.
But wow, this game is now on my radar. I heard good things about Dark Souls, but I haven't heard about good things about anybody from any of my close people. So now I will definitely add that up to the list of games that I would like to play.
Yeah, I'm sure you haven't, because they probably haven't beaten it yet.
Oh yeah. So we'll be like 4 years down the line and still trying to beat this game. Like, okay, so if we. I think this will probably, it's like real life difficulty, I assume, where it'll be like, okay, so if we get struck once by an arrow, we have to get disinfected, clean the wound, go to a doctor, rest for about 3 days, all in real game time, and then get back and then try to do it again.
Thank God it's not like that. It's a little forgiving in that aspect. You don't have to go into the home menu and just disinfect the wound like Metal Gear Solid 3, but yeah, you can die pretty easily with arrows and things like that. It's a lot like The Witcher in the aspects of the combat where you can get killed pretty fast and easy if you're like surrounded by a group of enemies. You kind of have to roll out of the way and take one out at a time.
That seems like a very, very challenging but rewarding game. So I will put that on my wish list of things to get.
It is. If you have the patience for it, I think it's worth checking out for some of the boss battles and just overall scenery. It's a pretty good looking game.
Well, so I mean the only kind of the most exposure I've had to this game is the mashup of people having their avatar characters dancing to the song "Teach Me How to Doogie." So I have a feeling that maybe I'm missing out on a lot more than just seeing people dance to a song that's not incredibly well written, but still fun.
Yeah, you do have selections of kind of different cheers or whatever you would like to call them that they could do. They could do like just a hoorah kind of stance or other things like that. I don't know why that's there. I'm sure it's there for something. But and also I noticed that early on I accidentally killed somebody that was kind of on the brink of death, and then it was strange because I saw his ghost following me at one point. Like, oh my god, is that him? And then I think I kind of figured out that as you play through the game and you're walking through these levels, you'll see like ghosts of which I ended up finding out were just other players. You get to see a little bit of what other players were doing around your area, and you can see them if you touch. If you press A near like a blood stain, you can see how they died at that certain area that you're at. But if you're still fighting a boss, you can press A on a blood stain. You can see someone's ghost there. You can just see him play and die when he was fighting that boss. So you it's like an instant replay in a way. But you're still playing the game, but you can see like his spirit, or when he was fighting that boss, and seeing how he went about it. And also, people can write notes on certain parts of the game. If you have a certain item, you can write notes that can help or misguide players into certain death and danger, or it can help them in a way. I've stumbled upon
I know what I would do. I would just be like, yeah, go down this corridor. Trust me, there's no giant scorpions or traps there for you. Don't worry, it's a clear, straight shot right to the treasure chest. Like, are you sure? Yeah, go on ahead. Good time. Idiot.
Yeah, some of them I wasn't sure about because I read them. It's like, oh, I don't know if I should trust them or not, and I didn't. For some of them were pretty useful, but I didn't bother to read them. I just kind of went and took it in stride and see what happened. I know the one with the scorpion boss. Whoever wrote the note on there it was helpful because it just says use the range attack. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go to the blacksmith, buy some arrows, and just shoot the hell out of this scorpion with arrows for like 10 minutes, and it worked. I'd rather have done that instead of facing him head on, because he could take you out pretty easily with his pitchfork weapon or lightning attacks in like 2 hits. If you don't have your shield up, it takes a lot of your stamina out of there, so it's better like use that rest of your stamina to roll out of the way. Yeah, it's an interesting game. I'm digging it. Just on the aspect of you can write notes that can help people. It just end up getting killed because of those notes. But I like the certain element of surprise in that aspect, and just seeing how other people were playing a certain part of the game. You're always seeing other players' replays in that game, like ghosts. It's like I always have to turn around and second guess whether that's a replay of somebody else playing it, or a ghost that's going to kill me in the back. And I think so. I think the player has controlled the boss once. I was fighting that scorpion boss like 5 times, and it had this like white circle around it, and I found out that I was a player controlling it. You can either control bosses and help out people that are playing the game by just not doing anything, or just fucking with them and just killing them because you can. It's like, oh man, I almost killed him too, and then I just I rushed it, and it just ended up getting killed. But luckily I wasn't too far away from the save point where you save from that boss. It's just downstairs in this like cabin or whatever. So, but I didn't mind it. I didn't mind dying too much on that part of it. The worst part is just like getting from one place to the other and finding a save point, and then you end up dying when you're really close to the save point, and you have to go back to where your save point was to get to the other save point. That's the worst part.
The save points sound like they're an oasis in a desert. where you just like between you and that is about 40 biblical monsters. Notes that probably like have you ever encountered a note that just like saying like get at grocery store, loaf of bread, milk, call mom, just like notes that have no meaning whatsoever, just like
I wish
for a good time call Sarah at 1-800.
I wish that would have been cool too, but that would have taken me out of the game a little bit. But that would have been funny either way. Some of the notes have ratings to them. Some of them will be rated like 0 or 1 or 3, and I think that's kind of user. I don't know how you would rate notes like that, but if it's a good rating, that means it's a legit helpful note. But if it's not rated anything above 0, then I don't think it's worth actually paying attention to. But I read them. I read them regardless, and proceed with caution a good chunk of the time, and ready to just bolt it out of there whenever I need be, because I don't even bother facing any enemies that are bigger than me, because I know I'll get killed with one hit.
Is it like the giants in Skyrim where, like, when you're first walking up, like, oh, this world is beautiful. Oh, hello, Mr. Giant, how are you? Slap! And, like, you're on the other side of the map in, like, 2 minutes.
Yeah, for the most part, you'll know that they're enemies when they notice you, when they start chasing you down. But if they're characters that just don't move or do anything, they're ones that are okay to talk to, and sometimes they'll give you stuff for quests, I think, to do. I know there's some benefits to helping out some NPCs in the game that are not of any threat to you. And
this sounds like a game that's that appeals to the masochist in me, and a game that will make me stop and say, you know what, I really have been enjoying life for too far, so just let's play this game and have a good old time of not having a good old time.
Exactly, that's been my experience. Those damn dragons.
The damn dragons. Dragons.
Yeah, you should
taking our jobs, stealing our women.
That's right. That would have been funny, a note to put in the games, like go down this corridor. There'll be babes, or you can do a God of War quick time event sex with them, and they're all right. Let's see what happens here. Just like a giant dragon just swooping down to eat you.
Wait a minute.
Hey, this is no babe. I was promised Choba down here.
Well, the only words that will be able to get out of his mouth at that point in time is just where, and then he'll be eaten at that point in time. Gulp, gulp, gulp.
Yeah, quick and swiftly as that. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the challenge and just yelling explicit things to the. I almost threw my remote once. I haven't played a game that's made me want to just chuck the remote at the wall in quite a while.
Well, it's definitely a good feeling. You hold on to that. Just there's damn it. I thought I had something, but I didn't. So yeah.
Yeah, you should. If you have the chance, you should check out Giant Bomb's quick look on Dark Souls. It's a really good video to watch. Someone play through them playing through Dark Souls, and just the hilarity ensuing in that one. I think that was a pretty good introduction to whether you would decide if you really want to play Dark Souls or not.
Yeah, it looks like a very, very very challenging game from what you've been able to tell me, and it looks like and from the videos the few videos I've seen, it's been beautiful world, and just it sounds like a good time.
Yeah, it's challenging but fair at the same time. I mean, it's a lot of trial and error. You'll learn that you should not try to go up against the dragon.
That should be 101 less. Like, if you go up against the dragon, make sure you are at least a level, I'd say 5, maybe, just to make sure that you don't die as quickly as possible.
Yeah, that's the lessons I learned from video games. If you have a high enough rank, you can beat the dragon. If not, you just stay away from it.
Oh yeah.
Have you been playing anything?
just the greatest show ever. I'm sorry, the greatest game ever, which is Charles Barkley Shut Up and Jam game. And I haven't been able to play a lot of it. I've actually been exploring a lot of Australia and the local Sydney area. I went to Circular Quay to check out the Opera House and the Contemporary Art Museum and the Rocks and the Goobin and the Gleebin and the Jello Puddin' and the Police Museum. I also got to see a didgeridoo player playing alongside a techno beat going along as he was, improvising and going along with that. So that was very interesting to see. And
Cool.
yeah, it's also I've been doing that, and then the